The next function for the inner derivative is the combination of exponent and sine or cos. What pattern we have for sine? Same is the pattern for cos. So we don't need to take up separately. We can have it on the basis of one expression. The first derivative, same way, f1, f2, derivative of f1, constant f2 plus derivative of f2, f1 constant. So you find that there is a simplification in this expression. The simplification is we can have e to the index ax common. That gives us this expression as a sin bx plus b cos bx. Now here you find that single term has now been converted to binomial with the first derivative. Now if you move on to the next derivative, you will find that there will be, for each terms there will be two derivatives, and that way we find that the number of terms keep on increasing. So if we are asked to find second derivative or third derivative or beyond that, it will be very difficult for us to handle this. So we look for a way to reduce the expression and rewrite it in a better form. For that, we have it in the form of a sin theta plus b cos theta, where we multiply each term by root over a square plus b square. The advantage of this is we can write this expression, the ratio, in terms of a sine ratio or a cos ratio, depending upon what we have it as the sides of a triangle. So if you go for this as b and this as a, then a on root a square plus b square is cos of alpha. So that reduces this expression ratio in the form of cos, and b upon this will be a sin alpha. Hence the whole expression now takes the form of sin of bx plus alpha. So what we see is this expression is changed to the same format. It is the same expression that you have. So the first derivative is nothing but e to the index ax, same expression, sin bx plus the alpha multiplied to a constant. Now for the next derivative, when once again see the pattern, this is a constant I have written separately. Again you find the same type of expressions, e exponential expression common, then we have divided by, again same thing, same repetition of the expression, multiplying and dividing by root over a square. So this is square, this is again changed to cos, which becomes cos alpha sin theta plus sin alpha cos beta, which takes the form of sin of theta plus alpha. That makes it bx plus 2 alpha. So you find that we are able to write the second derivative in terms of the original expression easily using this pattern. So the inner derivative can be written as under root of a square plus b square to the index n, e to the index ax, sin bx plus n alpha. The same answer you have it for cos also, where you need to specify what this alpha is. That is specified here. You don't have to express it in another way. That's how we have it. So we have taken up the generalization of few functions. Based on this, we have the next questions, that is from exercise 5.7. The first question is a direct question. The first set of questions are to find the second derivative of each. So you can go in for the second derivative of each of these functions straight away. So if it is a 1 mark question, we can directly apply the second derivative of the expression. You don't need to go through the first derivative. It's just similarly y is equal to x to the index 20. The formula is there in the previous page. I have explained it. What will it be? 20 factorial upon 18 factorial, and x to the index 20 minus 2, that is 18. So that makes it this. Now here we do not have a generalized form. So we have no other option other than to differentiate it by using the product rule. So I have differentiated it once using the product rule. Once again this function has to be differentiated because the second derivative is asked. So here cos x derivative is minus sin x. Now this is minus of x sin x. So the product rule. So first I have differentiated x, keeping sin x constant. So derivative comes out to be 1. This minus sign is carried over here and derivative of sin x is cos x, so it's x cos x. So this can be further simplified, giving us minus 2 sin x minus x cos x. Likewise, you have the next expression. The third expression, I have used the formula directly and explained what alpha is with the help of a triangle. You can answer the same way. Question number 8, I have explained later on. Now question number 9, again here it is log of log x. So its first derivative is 1 upon x log x, which can be rewritten as x log x to the index minus 1. So for second derivative, again we'll use something to the index minus 1. So it's minus of x to the index minus 2. So that minus 2 comes to the denominator. And then the derivative of that function, that is x log x. So it's x upon x plus log x, which is simplified here. Now, the next question that you have is sine of log x. Sine of log x, again, first derivative f prime x, sine's derivative cos of that function. Sorry, this is cos of x. We don't have this x here. It's cos of log x. It's sine of log x, so it's cos of log x. Then the derivative of log x, that is 1 on x. Now, once again this has to be differentiated. So I'm differentiating cos function. So derivative of cos is minus of sine of log x, then the derivative of log x. Log x derivative is 1 upon x, which gets added up with this x, and that gives you x square. Here this is the derivative of 1 on x. 1 on x derivative is 1 on x takes the form x to the index minus 1. So the derivative of this is minus 1 times x to the index minus 2. So that I have written it as 1 upon x square with cos of log x. So this is the second derivative of sine of log x. Now here, the next question says that you need to rewrite the statement, that is you have to form a differential equation. This is known as a differential equation. So this differential equation is formed by differentiating this expression. Here it says that it has to be differentiated twice. So we differentiate it 2 times. And while doing it, we find that we'll come across the term y in it. Because first derivative is this, second derivative happens to be this is same as that of y with the negative sign. So when you rewrite it, you are automatically forming the differential equation. Or the alternate way is substitute the value of y2 from here in it, y from here, and then see whether the sum comes out to be 0. That's another way of doing. Here I got it while taking up the second derivative. That way also we can go it for. Likewise, the next question is also based on forming a differential equation. To form it, I took the first derivative. Now here, instead of continuing with the same expression for the second derivative, what I did is, I took this x of the denominator to the left hand side and made the function on the left hand side as xy1. So I avoided a quotient rule here. It's a product rule that is better than the quotient rule. So if you can manage to rewrite the expression to a better form, try go for it. So this is now product rule. As per the product rule, the left hand side it changes to this. The right hand side again becomes this form, divided by x. Take this x to the left hand side, you'll find that you're automatically forming the differential equation that is asked. Likewise for the next question also. The next question also, you have to form this differential equation. Now forming this differential equation says that you will have to get y1, get y2, and each time you'll have a coefficient attached to it. So I prefer to have it in a different way. The way is rewriting, since we see that here we don't have the expression a and b. That means we have to eliminate a and b while getting the second derivative. So what I did is, I divided throughout this expression by e to the index nx. So when it's divided by e to the index nx, we get e to the index minus nx. This terms become m minus nx plus b. So the advantage of this step is, when you differentiate this, you automatically eliminate b from it. There's no b term in it. So you get some expression on differentiate taking the first derivative. Now after the first derivative, we are left with one more arbitrary constant, that is a. So we need to eliminate this also. For this, what I did is I divided again the expression by e to the index m minus n times x. So that makes this expression e to the index minus nx minus mx minus e to the index, again it's minus of m plus nx, minus nx gets cancelled, you get only minus mx, and this term happens to be free of x. So when you differentiate it, again you'll find that this automatically gets eliminated. So you have this expression for differentiating. So differentiate using product rule, differentiate carefully, collect the terms and rewrite the expression as per the requirement. You'll automatically get that expression what is required. Here again I missed one term, that is y here. It should be y equal to 0. This is how the next question is also done. Now, for the inverse functions, as I said before, I have not discussed the derivative of inverse function, but I'm just giving you the answers of the derivative of inverse function. I'll be dealing with this later on, but since for this chapter, we can manage to use the formula to continue the expression. So we have the derivative of the inverse functions here. So based on this, the question 8, y is equal to tan inverse x. y1 is 1 upon 1 plus x square. So the second derivative, you always go in for this expression as 1 plus x square to the index minus 1. So I have applied that formula and you get the second derivative. So it's easy to get it. Now the next question that you have is 12th one, that is cos inverse x. Now here the question says that express the answer in terms of y. So what I did I changed the format of this expression. It is cos y is equal to x. And here I differentiated x with respect to y. So we have dx on dy on the right hand side and derivative of cos y is minus sin y. Since it's differentiated with respect to y, we have on the left hand side dy on dx, dy on dy, which makes it, it's dy on dy, which makes it 1. So we have only minus sin y. And we can invert this statement and we have it as dy on dx as minus cosec y. Hence the second derivative of this with respect to x, we have multiplied to, this is now read as a composite expression, minus of cosec phi, it's minus, so derivative of cosec phi is minus of cosec phi cot y, so that makes it positive, multiplied by dy on dx, that is y is to be differentiated with respect to x. So that term is also to be taken up here. So dy on dx comes out to be minus cosec phi, so that is minus of cosec square y cot y is the answer. The next question, that is the 17th question, y is equal to tan inverse x whole square. The regular formula, composite function, so 2 times tan inverse x upon 1 plus x square. So again I change the form by taking the left denominator quantity to the left hand side and have the left hand side as the product form. So we'll again use the product form. So y1 differentiated y2 1 plus x square plus 2x y1, and this is further rewritten and you have the answer.